Hey guys, welcome back to Kumasao. We're taking a look at the KitzConcept Macross Robotech Valkyrie, the VF-1S Roy Fokker custom. So, whether it's Valkyrie, whether it's a Veritech fighter, Macross, Robotech, at the end it's going to be the same design and things like that. So call it what you want you pay for it, and get it onto your shelf. Anyway, right off the bat, people are going to ask, with the DX Shigoken line from Bandai being so popular, how does this stack up? How does this scale? This is a 172 scale figure, where the Bandai, the DX Shigoken, VF-1J and 1A, and eventually the 1S, they're all 148, so quite a bit of difference. This one is 7.5 inches tall to the head, and antenna-wise, it's 8.25 from what I'm seeing, and quite a bit of a difference. I actually have to move the camera back between it and the Bandai. So a little bit about how scale works if you're not familiar. So for something to be exact size, it'd be 1-1. Half size would be 1-1-2 basically, or 1/2 like half or whatever. 1/3 would be 1/3, like so. 1/72, and this is 1/48 or whatever of the actual size of the fictitious Valkyrie. So there's that, just knocking that out off the bat. And back to the KitzConcept. We're gonna look at the accessories, but we also have the fast pack armor, which we will be going over. I don't know right now if I'm gonna split this into 2 reviews, like a part 1 and part 2, or just have it all on one, but just in case this cuts off and you see a part 2, it'll be for the fast pack, the strike parts. Alright, so there's the stand. We've got some option parts in the back, which we'll put on right now. A missile set of hands, the covers, and of course the blaster. So, back to this guy. We'll actually go ahead and put on the option filler parts right now. So to do that, this here, it's just artwork that came with them. Get that up. Now I have to remember exactly how I did that. Yeah, right there. And it actually pegs in and holds firmly right there. And the other side, right there. I'm just taking a minute to check, make sure you guys can see. Alright, so pegs in right there, actually holds the shoulders, which go up and down on hinges, as well as pegging into there. Then you just bring the rest down, pegging those parts for the hips, and boom. Now for the part on the back of the neck, you just take that and press it down. Easy peasy. Okay, and I almost forgot, there is one more piece. I don't know why this doesn't come attached to it in the first place. Maybe the fact that it's on like a hinge swing type piece. I'm not exactly sure, but this kind of just... it's bendy. Alright, so while I'm giving you guys this roundabout here, minor complaint, but still my complaint. Basically, there's way too much to assemble out of the box for this piece, in my opinion. Between the batteries, intake covers, this cover here, even with the battery covers and stuff like that, it's like one of them on the blaster in particular. The battery cover for it just takes forever to get out because it's so deep-seated in there, and there's not an easy way to get in between and pull it out. So it's just, it takes a bit of work. And there's the LED on that guy, by the way. A bit of work to get this thing up and going. Probably like 20 minutes or so, at least for me. This isn't even the first time I had to put it all together again. So, it's what it is, but yeah, I wish a little bit more would have come assembled. out of the box, but once you get it together, it's a good looking piece. I like the panel lining on it quite a bit. It almost makes me wish that Bandai would have done this with their version of the VF-1 as well, but it's what it is. Now we're just taking a look at the articulation on this guy. Definitely not bad. Neck has an independent swivel joint. And then another swivel where the head actually meets the neck, so I don't really understand the point of that, but it's what it is. But lots of up and down movement because the neck itself is on that swivel there. But ball joint of its own on the head, and actually has head tilt, which is nice. Yeah, good stuff. Shoulders. Around to the side, not a full parallel, but definitely not bad. 360 at the bicep. Double jointed elbows. Really good bend there. And then wrist. Alright, waist. Unlike the DX, no waist movement, period. So, completely static in the waist. Alright, hips. The hip joints, the ball joints are on, pretty tight. So, yeah. And with the wings in the back, kind of got to watch it when swinging it forward. But, good forward swing. Now, backwards, you could actually take the hips out. And it swings back just fine. Outwards, of course, because of the hips, these really just, in general, this design doesn't do it. Knees, single jointed knees, 90 degrees. The thigh swivel is actually right above the knee. Okay, and these knee joints, pretty standard, they move. Now, front and back movement in the feet. They extend. I'll talk about that piece in a second. All that business. And then back and forth. But I wish there was more angle tilt on this guy. There's really not much. That piece that fell out, I'm going to zoom in here because it was out in the box. It actually slides in and slides pretty firm. I might add a dab of glue since it's not meant to do anything else. It slides right back in, and then there you go. Just feet decor. Alright, but again, so that, we'll take a look at the accessories in a second. Now looking at the accessories, start with his blaster there, extend it, turn the light on. Alright, so there's that. It has a peg on the hand and a peg hole on the handle. And it's nice, I'm not going to lie. The trigger finger, or the index finger, actually goes onto the trigger very naturally. If you looked, all I did was peg it in, and the trigger finger was right there. And I forgot to talk about the hand articulation, but basically, separate index finger, these, focus, permanently bent, thumb, in and out, rotates, that kind of deal. Basic stuff. Alright. So let's go ahead and unpeg that. We'll replace that with... peg that guy in. Just ball joints. And all of these hands are the TV style hands. Considering Robotech was a TV show, it makes sense. Now, in terms of articulation, that lack of waist joint, as well as the ankle tilt, really are a drag for me, but let's see if we can do something. Maybe by getting it off of there to add some friction. Extend that. I'm just trying to basic walking, which it should be able to hit. Actually, I kind of like that right there. So, if you look at it from an upward angle, it's actually not too shabby. I'm gonna just take my luck and stop there. Alright, so here's the Gerwalk or Guardian mode. Pretty standard stuff, looks good. Get that more centered. My favorite mode in general, so there's a lot of bias towards there. So let's take a look at the cockpit. Comes with the pilot installed. It is removable. Alright. Good detailing on the cockpit there. I actually like it better than the DX Chogokin in that respect. Alright, so there's that. Now one thing that's cool, again, this does have LEDs. I don't know why that was harder to do there than initially, but okay. You guys see the switch there? I'm gonna go ahead and put the nose back on. Might as well just leave that on for the rest of the review. Get this guy back in. So the light shines from inside the cockpit there, as you can see. And overall, cool stuff. It's a neat gimmick. Let me show you what it looks like with the lights out here. Yeah, that's bright as all get out. And it's really blue. I don't feel like this camera is capturing just how blue it is because of the light, but imagine like blue Christmas lights or something like that kind of LED. So yeah, pretty standard stuff, the Gerwalk mode. I mean, even articulation wise, per standard, same articulation in the shoulders. There are the hip extensions that make the knees go around, so you got a little bit of bend in the knee there, but they're supposed to be forward. And then the feet pointed downwards like so. All in all, good stuff. I like it a lot. So we'll do one of these swap hands here. Gonna do that guy. Now, the stand for this mode doesn't really do it any favors. I mean, it connects where the head is here on the bottom. Oh. Holds it well enough, but it doesn't get that downward angle. Because you can see the stand starts to lean forward, so I don't really like the stand for this particular mode. Get that point up more downwards, just to give you guys a good view of it going out. Again, Gerwalk mode, Guardian, just really cool. I love it. Okay, so a quick roundabout of the fighter mode. And I will say, I wish that there were instructions on how to put this thing on the stand in the instructions itself, but I had to go to Scorched Earth's Toys, I think it's anymoon.com, and look at pictures from their review to actually see how this went on the stand. So that's a bit of an oversight there, but not too hard. I mean, it splits, you just set it on top, you know, yada yada. So that's the fighter mode. Let's go ahead and take a look at these missiles though. And they look to peg in pretty standard. There we go. There we go. The wings aren't exactly... Well, they're sturdy, but they're not meant for a lot of bending and pressing and stuff like that, so be very careful when you're doing this as well. Because unfortunately you have to press against them to get some friction, but you know. And there is missiles come out, so that's the first time I've even seen that happen, so I didn't know. Learned something new myself, but yes, the missiles do detach from the pods. but there is limited range, about 45 degrees to each side. That just helps you aim them straight, no matter where the wings themselves are angled. Yeah, good stuff. And while we're down here, we'll also go ahead and get the blaster attached to it. Get that out of the way. This actually comes off. I'm trying to do it the right way. There we go. It's just tight. And then pull those two pieces out. Boom. And from there, it's pretty standard stuff. The peg end kind of finds itself. The two forearms back together. There we go. And it's nice because the stand actually makes room for it, but you just got to do it at the right angle. There we go. So that, give you guys a top view as well. It's a plain good looking piece. Now what I'm going to do is get my sputter. Oh, just kick the camera. That out of the way so that we can take a look at the landing gear. So alright, that just flips out. You can flip that back if you want to. These bottom pieces, so they pull up a bit first, and that's when you can pull them out. So go slower on the other side. Flip that up, pull this up, and then try to flip it out. Up, and then try to flip it out. There we go. And now from there, I'm just pegging these back into place. Rolling wheels. I mean, overall solid stuff, man. Closing out part one of this review, everything minus the strike parts, it's good. I mean, if you look at it price-wise and stuff, it's like 120 bucks or so, and I would say at that price point, it is pretty well worth it. Considering the DX Shikoken ones, I think they're like 160, 180, but the rarity of them and things like that, the lack of US distribution, it's not a direct alternative, but it's a nice representation of the VF-1S on your shelf. Got some cool gimmicks with the LEDs, and yeah, overall, it's good stuff. I wish there was waist articulation. I wish the hips were a little bit more solid and things like that, but at the same time, it's good. It's a good looking piece. It plays well. I mean, there's not too much more that you could ask of it at this scale, and I also believe the DX Shikokens would have been a lot more limited in what they could do at, you know, a smaller scale and things like that, because there's not as much engineering that you could put into it and stuff like that because of small parts and whatnot. But it's decent, you know. It's not great, but at the same time, it is definitely a good piece, man. So anyways, This has been another Kuma Style review. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Part 2 will have the strike part set, so that should be like a 5-10 minute review tops.